get ready for something extraordinarily brilliant. You've not seen a mock draft until you've looked at Spaceghost. Let's bring it, man. It's 1.0. Appreciate you doing this, man. Always rocking the mock drafts. If you don't know Spaceghost, this guy, every single year, he always has his little touch on the draft. And you can go back into every single one of his videos, whether it's him and Jackson Smith and Jigba higher, or Paris Johnson Jr. being higher on his board. He always has somebody that comes out of this draft that he puts way higher than everybody else. And you're like, what? And it's a little head scratcher. And then you go back and you're like, oh, I see what he was doing there, right? So other than the great name, of course, Spaceghost. So let's go. Shout out to Space. Bringing the mock draft 1.0, and here we are on the clock for the Raiders. He does a little graphical information too for us, goes above and beyond the projected quarterback, off-season notes, and even a projected head coach in this case. Now this was done right before the Mike McDaniel situation, him going over to the Chargers. So he was right about him going out west. He certainly did. And for the Raiders, wait, he went with Fernando Mendoza? Wow, I'm shocked about that. I mean, it's not like he didn't win the national championship, didn't lunge out and score a touchdown, get hit on Russell, and do a 360 black flip. Yeah, it's Fernando Mendoza. Clearly, he's going to be the quarterback unless they trade out of that pick. He is the number 1 overall pick in the draft. The Cuban Missile, former 2-star recruit. What a great story. Everything checks off there with Mendoza. What is there else to say? We move on. New York Jets, my favorite team. Carnell Tate, our projected quarterback. Marcus Mariota, off-season notes. Well, let's see what he's got. Joe Milton, tag Brees Hall. I hope so. I mean, I don't want to hold Brees hostage. If he doesn't want to play here, then tag and trade him, or just let him go and pick up a comp pick if you can. This is one where I think Carnell Tate's a really good football player. I would not be, up in arms like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. Personally, I like Mekhi Lemon, Jordan Tyson, just depending on the injury, but I also like Carnell Tate. I think he's a really good wide receiver. It's the Ohio State University, so if him and Garrett Wilson have a little connection there, a little bing, bada, boom, I'm rocking an elite weapon for a future. If you appreciate the support there, Spaceghost, because I needed it. I really did. I'll say this, they don't tell you when you're younger, be careful who you pick to be your favorite team. It could be very painful for you. Where's Bain when we need him? Hey, Ruben Bain would be a good pick too with that one. But on to the card. Jeremiah Love, look at him. He's hurdling dudes. Look at, oh my gosh. Jeez Louise, this guy is unbelievable. But Jeremiah Love here at number 3 isn't interesting. It just goes to show you the dynamics of this draft class and where we're at right now. Love's a great player, though. He's arguably one of the best players in this draft class. One-dimensional offense due to the 31st ranked run game, and I believe it. And when you lose James Conner and you lose Trey Benson for the season, their offensive line wasn't very particularly amazing either in getting up a ton of lanes. They're going to have new coaching staff in here. Clint Kubiak would make a lot of sense. I think they're going to have to really, all you need is love. Where's the yellow submarine? All you need is love. The Beatles, let's go. Good reference out here. But then, off-season notes, you got Kyler Murray being cut. Draft the best O-line at pick with 34. I agree with that. You definitely need to probably pick up some guys in free agency too. But Jacoby Brissett would be the current quarterback. Play for 2027. Kind of like the Jets, right? We're hoping we can find a quarterback soon in the 2027 draft. Don't be beaten. No. We want to win the number 1 overall pick. We want Arch Manning. Hey, I like Sorsby. There's so many. Next year's class, you could literally have Arch, Sorsby, Mensa, Sellers, Moore, right? This next year's draft could be insane. I know we keep saying, next year's class could be better, but it might actually be better. Jordan Tyson, number 1 wide receiver for Cam Ward. They signed Quay Walker. They signed Malcolm Kuntz. Cam Ward, Robert Saleh as that new head coach. I'm actually really excited for Robert Saleh. I thought he got a real bad steer for the New York Jets, and he gets his opportunity in Tennessee, and I think they'll treat him a lot better in the Music City. So watch out. Robert Saleh taking this team to that next level. Cam Ward, now, do I think Cam Ward's a franchise quarterback? I would not call him that at the moment. We shall see with Cam Ward. A lot of potential, a lot of talent, needs to take that next step into year number 2. And really, when you talk about young quarterbacks, year number 2 really is kind of your big thing. And even with guys like C.J. Stroud, you got to get better and better. And that's where we're at with C.J. Stroud and some of these other quarterbacks and trying to take that next step. So we'll see what happens with Cam Ward here. But Jordan Tyson would be a great pick to add a weapon in that offense. Peter Woods. This is why we look at the Space Ghost mock draft. Totally different left field. Must prioritize stopping the run. It's a problem. I like this pick. Dude, you think about John Harbaugh and what he wants to do. Big physical offense, players in general. Like, that's what he wants. He wants these guys. Peter Woods is that dude. He's a physical presence who will club the crap out of dudes. And I'm not talking about no soda. We ain't clubbing out that type of sort of thing. Like, he'll club you up in a bear style way, up and onto defense and offense linemen. This makes a lot of sense. His notes here: re-sign a Jermaine Illuminor, sign a Romeo Dobbs. You got Jackson Dart, of course, as your franchise quarterback, and John Harbaugh looking good over there on that left-sided new head coach for the New York Football Giants. I am super excited to see what happens there. But I like this pick, actually, for them. Whether they go offensive tackle or defensive tackle, they could go in a lot of different routes. And it really comes down to free agency, too, what they're going to do with Cordell Flott. Could this be a corner? Maybe. This could be a trade down in a corner or whatever. Maybe they just like Jerome McCoy here. Maybe they go with Sonny Styles. Maybe they go with Francis Mauigoa or Spencer Fanu. Or maybe they go wide receiver. They go with Mekhi Lemon at this point. So many interesting scenarios for the Giants, and they're in a very good spot to add some big-time additions. On to Francis Mauigoa here. I love this pick. This is a great move. Current quarterback, of course, Shedeur Sanders. Jesse Minter did just turn down the job. Once again, this was done just a couple of days ago, so let's give him a little bit of a break on this. He worked very hard, you can tell, on all this stuff and putting some coaching candidates out there. And who will be the next coach of the Cleveland Browns? That's a very good question. But no matter who is the next head coach, maybe Jim Schwartz, anchoring a new offensive line is key. They need practically a new offensive line. Maybe Jenkins comes back. I think he could probably come back, and Luke Whippler could start at center. Generally speaking, though, they need to invest in the trenches. They could double dip. Even they could draft 3 new offensive linemen within their first 5 picks very easily in this draft class. Like, wouldn't shock me at all. So Andrew Berry's got a lot of things to work on there. Add all O-linemen, or all their O-linemen are over 30 right now. And yeah, it makes sense. Well, not all of them. They've got some injuries and stuff like that, but currently they're starters and stuff. It's a bit of a pain and a problem. Build through the draft, best wide receiver O-line with a pick 39. On to Arvell Reese. The Washington Commanders are going to be getting their edge rusher hybrid player, Dan Quinn's ace, to build around. He is aces up. I just watched Casino Royale, too. That was a great movie. Oh, my gosh. Casino. Yeah, I know. Can you believe that? I've not watched the James Bond movies. Pretty wild. I've watched some of the old Sean Connery ones, and it's just been so long. I think like Goldfinger and some of those type of movies. Yeah, or Dr. No. I believe I've seen that one, but it's been so long I don't remember. I was like a little kid. Going back to this, though, he would be a really fun player into this defensive line, whether it's a Ruben Bain, a David Bailey, Arvell Reese, if you feel like he is an edge rusher. Reese, it just comes down to that question. Do you feel like he is an edge rusher or not? Some teams may say he is. Some teams may say, no, we're not as comfortable with that. You're going to have your own preference. You're going to have your own flavor. Reese is a great football player and certainly would help them out. You cut Marshawn Lattimore. You signed George Pickens. Wow. Just imagine that. George Pickens and Scary Terry. Not too bad of a 1-2 punch for Jaden Daniels in the offense. But then you go into the New Orleans Saints. Brandon Staley, he's drooling. He's foaming at the mouth clearly right now. Look at him over there. Tyler Shucks, hopefully your franchise quarterback. Ruben Bain, helping to ease the way for Cameron Jordan if he ends up retiring. Get more talent with Carl Granderson and Chase Young. I have no problem with this pick. Ruben Bain could play a little on the inside if they want him to. They re-signed Alontae Taylor, who's been a solid slot corner. Draft Chris Bell in the second round. Ooh, bold, but I like it. And it's just he's going above and beyond and showing out second round picks here, too. I do like that one, though. I like Ruben Bain. I think Ruben Bain's a great football player. I'd be okay with him for the Jets at 2, just because, like, the dude is a high-effort, unbelievable power rocking machine. And that's going to play at the next level. Even with the short T-Rex arms that people are going to make fun of him for. Oh, well, he's, in Jurassic Park, I saw him out there. He was in one of those dinosaur suits, and he wasn't doing it too good out there, man. They got away. Scarlett Johansson knocked him up into the 4th century out here. So, no, I like him a lot. We got Caleb Downs. I like that. Eric Berry vibes. Dude, Eric Berry was a great football player and a warrior, too. But you go ahead and cut Juwan Taylor. You sign Jalen Coker. Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen. I think Coker, he is an exclusive restricted free or a restricted one of the, either which way, they would give him a second round tender. Right? They probably even wouldn't hate giving him a first round tender. So I do think Jalen Coker will be back to Carolina. If they could get him, though, oh, that would be pretty wild. Caleb Downs at safety would be a really good pick for Andy Reid and this team to get yourself a stud in that back end. And it would almost be like kind of like Baltimore and getting Kyle Hamilton, what that did for their defense. And yeah, that's a great pick to get Caleb Downs. I'm totally fine with that one. If you don't want to go with a David Bailey here, or if you don't want to go with a wide receiver here, or whatever, right? Caleb Downs, great, fantastic player. I'm not gonna have any arguments. One of the best players in the draft. David Bailey, here he is, pass rush demon. Whoa, he's a little demon. He's a little swerver. He's a little edge rushing extraordinaire, juice specialist. He's so freaking explosive. His ability to get around tackles is incredible with that bend that he had. Well, he's more of a flattener, right? He's a flattener, and he's like an iron press, right? You go into the shop, boom, it's done for you. Rashid Walker is one sign here, so maybe they end up letting go of Orlando Brown, which could be a possibility. You never know. You also signed Greg Newsome in this one. Oh, it'd be an interesting. Okay, I don't mind that one, right? I mean, you could always put Dax in the slot and have Newsome be there on the outside. I'm down with that one. Yeah, that's not too bad. But David Bailey, the only thing I will say about this one is like they have invested a lot. Myles Murphy did look better down the line. You're hoping Shamar Stewart gets better. You can always use more talent off the edge though. So like even if he's the third edge rusher, he's gonna play 500 snaps next, like, or next 500 snaps, whatever. So that's fine. You need rotation out there, and Bailey is fantastic. So I don't have any quorums with this one. They need to improve their defense. So improving their defense, however made that it come, best player available makes a ton of sense here. Sonny Styles would also be a really nice pick here. So that would be something to keep an eye out on as well. On a two-man sword, the lane cornerstone to rebuild upon. They've got a lot of needs, right? Tyreek Hill. We got to talk about this though. Tyreek Hill for Brandon Ayuk. Okay, he was mentioning something about this to me, and it could be an option. It really would be. You'd ship out Tyreek Hill to San Francisco, and Kyle Shanahan, and then Jeff Hafley gets Brandon Ayuk. It's a very interesting option right there. I could see that happening. I think that's something to watch out for, because from a contract perspective, like, it would kind of make sense too. Anyway, that would be a little fun maneuver. Afeni Melifonwu there at safety could be a signed, hybrid, can play a little bit of both, but safety nonetheless. And then you get yourself a cornerstone player in Mansour Delane to help bring in some much-needed cornerback help. Hey, Jack Jones, a free agent, and also Rasul Douglas. So they got to find some help in that secondary for the long haul. So that makes sense to get a corner in there, with whether it's McCoy or Delane, get one of the guys. We got two Sonny Styles, as I said before. This is one that's like, yeah, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Put it up on there on that tee all day, because this is one where it's just like a dream fit scenario for this Cowboy team. And Jerry Jones loves a good linebacker too. Do it all, green dot captain. Oh, captain, my captain. He did do the green dot. He was the green dot there at Ohio State. Can be the green dot for Dallas. And they also re-signed Javonte Williams and cut Terrence Steele. And then we go on to Caleb Lomu, the tackle from Utah. They re-signed Rob Havenstein, which would be interesting. I don't think they would need to do that in this case scenario, just because, like, you got Warren McClendon at right tackle, and he's looked really good. I'm okay with the fact that they could probably move even Lomu into that right guard position of the future if Dotson isn't back after next season. I mean, he's still under contract, but he's getting expensive, and something to think about at least. Is it a first round need at this point? It wouldn't shock me, like, if they still drafted a tackle and have McClendon to be their swing tackle. However, with the way he's played, I think he's at least given himself you feel good about him being the starter going next season. Maybe draft somebody on day 2 to at least be a developmental guy, as I said before, who could play right guard or right tackle. Lomo's a good football player. I don't have a problem with this. So I would go with Fanu, though, still over Lomu, because I am higher on Fanu than Lomu. But Lomu is a good football player too, and I can't really knock this one. He has a little more NFL traits, I guess, in terms of length as well, and size, or his strength profile I feel a little bit better about. But I will say, Fanu's athleticism is pretty crazy. So is Lomu. Lomu's got good athleticism. Re-signed Cameron Curl, which we'll see if that happens. Cam Curl's been a really good football player. And then we go on to, here we go, Spencer Fanu. Whoa! Spencer Fanu, projecting Lamar, is top priority, guard or tackle. Well, in this case scenario, you put him next to Tyler Lindenbaum. Ooh, I don't mind that. Yeah, I don't mind that. Some people are going, when we get into this offseason program, maybe some people will say Fanu is a guard. I personally am fine with him at tackle. I think he just needs to get a little more play strength. he never really had a problem with it, but there were times where it's like defensive linemen when they actually went up against, like popped him up, like he did get jolted back. So some of that power profile you do wonder about, and certain schemes may not want to. It just depends, right? That's going to be the thing here, and we'll see who the new head coach is going to be. He has Sean McDermott, which, hey, I could actually see that. That would be an interesting one. But maybe you say, well, it's the same sort of problems that they had with John Harbaugh and not getting it done in the playoffs. So maybe Sean McDermott wouldn't be the head coach. Who knows? That would be a little bit redundant, right? But still, I think McDermott's going to be highly regarded here. And then you got Levi Unzurike they sign, and then they get Kendrick Bourne here to get some depth at wide receiver. Overall, they need offensive line. They need defensive line. Those are two big needs for Baltimore. Finding those areas going to be key for this football team. Cassius, we get ourselves an edge rusher. Floats like a butterfly, stings like Cassius Howe, like the bee. I love this one here for the Bucs. They need some pass rush. And, I mean, look, they do a good job blitzing. I think Bowles is still great. He's one of the better defensive minds when it comes to scheming up blitzes and creative blitzes. He gets dudes. Like, he gets offensive coordinators off guard all the time, and I think he's really good about that. But it would be nice to find somebody to go along with Yaya Diaby, and Cassius Howe's a great football player. They re-signed Mike Evans, which would be a shocker if he isn't re-signed. Like, Mike Evans in Tampa Bay, those two things go together like cheese and crackers, right? Cheese and cracker. I was thinking for a second, like, what does cheese goes with? I was thinking chicken parm. I'm like, well, chicken parm's pretty good too. I mean, hey, we'll go with that. But float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. I was actually just watching that fight with him and Ken Norton. I was watching the second one. That was a fun fight. Ali was trimmed down in that one. And then we go on to the JETS Juts, and we get Aaron Glenn a help in the secondary. And I am fine with this one. You got AZ, you got McCoy as that new future outside lockdown cornerback duo. Brownlee. I love this because I think McCoy is a really good football player, and I'm perfectly fine. Like, if none of the wide receivers are available, we already went Carnell Tate, so we're good there at this point. And you go get yourself a corner here at 16, or none of the edge rushes that you like are available, makes a ton of sense. Draft the best linebacker with 33. Oh, I'm down with that too. Re-sign Elijah Vera Tucker or John Simpson, one of the two, right? Get one of those guys back if possible, and we can help some offensive line maybe later in the draft too for long-term ramifications, classifications, whatever. But I do like that one there for the Jets. And then Connor Lewis back in the first round. I can't wait to see what happens. Channing Tindall. I love Channing Tindall. It's too bad he hasn't really worked out in the NFL yet, but I love Channing Tindall. He's good, special teams. So, yeah, at least get Tindall to bring some special teams up. But I really love Tindall, man. I was such a fun player coming out of Georgia. Jaquan McMillan's a beast. He'll be back because he's a restricted free agent for Denver. Unless they, they match just like what would be like a, second round tender or something like that. That's what they end up choosing to give him. He may even be an exclusive restricted, so we'll have to check on that. But reestablish the Lion Trench. The strength sounds like Jason Statham out here with the Meg. Give me the foot, right? Let me pop the foot up on him. Stop that Megalodon in its tracks. Connor Lew would be a great pick for this team. And tackle, offensive interior, both areas this team's going to have to address. Like, this it's a must for the Detroit Lions. Makai Lemon to the Vikings. Woohoo! Trade for his fan. Whoa! 9-inch insurance. What? Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. KOC Kofi Adase Mensa, right? Or what am I blanking on his name? The general manager. Jeez Louise, not Mensa. Right? I don't know, man. Anyway, he's got to draft some dudes, man. He struggled in drafting. This would be a dude. This would be a serious hit for him. And I mean, you don't need wide receiver, but at the end of the day, Makai Lemon is such a good football player that I would take him here because he's just best player available. I'm not gonna cry at this one. Really, I may be crying happiness just because I think Makai Lemon's such a good football player. So there's that. And then they also cut TJ Hawkinson, which I think is really possible. Travis Etienne, that would be a fun signing, wouldn't it? Travis Etienne in this offense. I'm vibing with that one really a lot. That's a good one. You got Kevin O'Connell here for this Minnesota Viking team. Let's go. That's an interesting one right there. But I love Makai Lemon. I think he is so good. He's my number one wide receiver. On to the Carolina Panthers, and they go ahead and get building an elite run-stopping unit with Keldrick Folk. You pair him up there with Nick Scorton off the edge. They need more passers, clearly. And now, Folk may not give you tons of passers right away. However, I do think he'll make everybody's life easier. And Guys like Derek Brown, Ashawn Robinson on the interior will be thriving even more. So I'm totally fine with that one. And obviously, Tershawn Wharton, too, is another. I got to mention him. Jacob Rodriguez. Ooh, yeah, I like that one. That's a good fit there with Trayvon Wallace. That's actually a good 1-2 punch. I like that combo right there. Resign K. Mays would be nice to be your center. Keep him as the starter. We go on to the Cowboys. Oh, okay. This must be one of Spaceghost's guys. Zion Young, rusher from Missouri, and granting Jerry Jones's wish to stop the run. Hey, Zion Young would do that, and he is kind of the mold of what they look for, right? And he's a guy that's going to bring the juice. He's going to bring a hammerhead type of approach because he's a little electric ball of juice out there for Missouri's defense line. You know, sometimes you got to be careful with the penalties, right? Like, you can get a little too heated up. But generally speaking, I love the way he plays his game. He could be a big time riser too here in this offseason combine, Senior Bowl, all those sort of things edition where we see guys rise. I think Zion could be one of those dudes, and he would be a fun one, right? Him and Sonny Styles. That's going to help stop your run game. I'll tell you that right now. That's going to really help you out, and also in the pass game too. Then we go on to Brian Flores. I know he just got an extension, so he didn't. Once again, that was a couple of days. It just recently happened. But yeah, Trinidad Chambliss. I was so curious about the Brian Flores thing. Trinidad Chambliss, and he is a Steeler fan too. He's a Steeler and Jag fan, which you give the city hope for the future. I can't wait to see who the Steelers hire because it's probably going to be somebody that is now sticking around for the next 20, hopefully, right? And Pittsburgh trying to find that guy who can be the long-term answer. But Trinidad Chambliss would be somebody that I could see also rising. I would rather take Chambliss over Ty Simpson, so I'm not against that in many ways. And I still have Drew Aller as my QB2, but Chambliss would probably be my QB3 at that point, and then, probably Ty Simpson at 4 there. And I don't want to hate on Ty Simpson too much. Just generally speaking, I think that he'd be a guy I look at more on day 2. I get it. We'll see what happens here with Chambliss. Of course, ideally you want him on day 2, and we'll see if he even comes out with the whole legal identification and all those, well, not identification, but the lawsuit with being able to stay in college. I don't know what's going to happen with that. Actually, it's going to be very interesting to see if they'll give him another year. But Chambliss is a fun player, and he has been. He's the guy that elevates, right? He elevates for sure. Vega Ioane Chargers, self-explanatory. Last piece to a top 5 O-line when healthy. I agree with that, right? You got yourself 2 elite tackles with Sean Slater and Joe O. Just got to get healthy. You got Vega Ioane, maybe re-sign Zion Johnson. Gonna have to maybe go out and get a center in free agency, or could put Vega Ioane possibly at center. There's a lot of possibilities for this team, and get one free agent into your offensive lineman to bring it up. Get your starting 5 where it needs to be. Overpay. Oh, I was just talking about it. You just said, pay attention, G-Sling. What are you doing? I clearly don't pay attention. Tyler Lindenbaum signing. Whoa, would that be quite insane? Hey, it could happen. One Harbaugh to the next. He goes, okay, you let go of Jim, John, we're going to go over to Jim. Odafe Owe would be a nice re-sign as well to help out that edge room. Philly, Mammoth, that will shine with Stoutland University. They re-sign Dallas Goedert. Oh, sign Drake Young. That's a fun one. He is a restricted, I believe. Don't think he's a UDFA, so restricted. Maybe they wouldn't give him a tender on that, and he could actually be signed. It'd be another big option of a wide receiver for them. And who knows if A.J. Brown's gone, right? Look, that's something to monitor too. But Caden Proctor is a stud. I like him a lot, and I think he could play guard for them early on, especially if the injury situation with Landon Dickerson, he may be out for a good chunk of next season, especially if he has off-season surgery. That's something all to watch out for with Dickerson, and his health and availability going into next season. It's going to be a question mark for sure. Proctor would help them out tremendously on their offensive line. That'd be the right tackle of the future. And High Roseman, even if he plays 6 offensive line for a season, it's going to work for them. On to Caden. Oh my gosh. What are you doing to that Cleveland defensive line? McDonald's up on there? They go back at another Ohio State guy. It's true, because they got Michael Hall. You got Mason Graham, Caden McDonald, building a really young core. I guess it's possible. Hey, Shelby Harris is a free agent, so you had a McDonald in there. Malik Collins was a little banged up this season. I doubt they would cut him because he was on fire at the beginning. He did slow down a little bit there, but before getting injured and whatnot. However, I guess it wouldn't be a terrible idea for sure. It's a unique one. I'll say that. It's a unique perspective here. And this case gives you a great duo, Mason Graham and Myles Garrett, to run free on your defensive line. Bills, future captain of the defense, they cut Dawson Knox. I'd have to disagree with that one. I like Dawson Knox a lot. I think Dawson Knox, you should keep him at all regards. The way he's played and as critical as he was down the stretch for them. I think Dawson Knox is a great football player. I know he keeps finding a way, but he's playing great, especially with Kincaid, and he's dealt with some injuries at times. But, I mean, cap space will be tricky. It's something they have to continue to look at. Sign Kwity Paye off the edge would be a fun idea for them to go along with Greg Rousseau there, especially with Landon Jackson's injury situation right now. CJ Allendale, linebacker, would give them that long-term stability at the position that they've lacked. And they really need a chase down guy, right? They need somebody that can be a headhunter. Well, not literally. Yeah, I know. Flags are coming out, right? Anyway, yeah, I'm sure that we go on to LT Overton. Let's go. Oh my! I feel like this is like the beginning of the draft cycle. Look, this is me. I do like LT Overton. I think wherever he goes, which he's probably going to go on day 2 somewhere. Sorry, I'm scratching my armpit. Looks like, what are you, a monkey? Where's my banana? I've got plenty of bananas somewhere. Oh, man. Just doing a little scratch of the armpit. Next thing you'll see me picking my nose here soon, trust me. If I start eating it, please, then tell me. That'd be weird. That'd be really bad. But I'm crazy as it is. But LT Overton, I like LT Overton, and I think he's going to outperform wherever he gets drafted. I don't see him going in the first round, but I really still like Overton. I don't know, man. There's just something about his game that I think he's going to be more of like a 3-4 defensive end who can also play 4-3 base end in packages and stuff. But ultimately, I like him a lot on the interior. He's got such strong hands that I feel like he can hold up on the interior. And that's going to play at the next level. It really is. And he's a solid athlete. He's not an elite athlete. And that's why I'm saying I don't know if he's a full-time edge rusher. He doesn't have that explosive trait to him. I just really do like Overton. And I think he's a very high-floor player that I'd be shocked if he does not at least provide a 200, 300 snap rotation for your defense. And I think he could turn into a really good interior type of defensive lineman for you. And maybe even like a John Franklin Myers sort of mold. That's kind of what I see with Overton. I really like him. So maybe and Franklin Myers can play off the edge, but I think he's best served as like that interior player. And that's kind of what I see with Overton as he goes and gets better and throughout his career. Re-signed Jaquan Brisker, re-signed Kevin Byard. How about that safety room, which certainly could be in flux this offseason? Kenyon Sadiq, yeah, I could see this one. If Sadiq makes it to the 49ers, George Kittle probably out for a good chunk of the season next year. And, technically next season, but still this year. But epic fall for such a freak athlete. They re-signed Ben Barch, and they re-signed Juwan Jennings. In this case scenario, get yourself another playmaker with Sadiq. Hey, whether it's a wide receiver or a tight end, it makes a lot of sense. They use their tight ends as well. So Sadiq would make a ton of sense. I think they'll draft a tight end somewhat early in this draft, whether it's first round or maybe on day 2, early day 3, probably at latest in my opinion. Moving on to Houston, Jadarian Price. Oh, Jadarian Price. There it is. Oh, there it is. Jadarian Price. Unbelievable. Jadarian Price. I love Price. I mean, he's a good football player. And I mean, hey, if you're a Golden Domer, you know about this guy, Jadarian Price. He ain't messing around. First round, a little tricky, a little sticky. I don't know. Maybe more like a pick 38. I believe they have 38, 39. One of those two. They got a second round. One of their second round picks. I think that would make a ton of sense to go get Jadarian Price. I mean, they missed out on Jeremiah Love, but they go get his teammate in Jadarian Price, who's a great football player, extremely explosive, home run hitter, north-southwest runner. He absolutely be a great addition for this Houston Texans team. First round, though, yeah, I do think it's a little early for Jadarian Price, but ultimately, I do like the fit. That's one thing I will say. I think it's a tremendous fit in here to pair along with Woody and Jordan in that running back room. But you re-sign Sheldon Rankins, makes a lot of sense. I would be shocked actually if he was. I mean, who knows? He might be somewhat expensive. Probably I think they got the cash to do it though. Tommy Townsend, re-sign him as their punter. Woo! There we go. Kamari Ramsey to the Denver Broncos, hard-hitting playmaker. I love Kamari Ramsey. I think he's a great football player. Re-signed John Franklin Myers, and they signed Caden Ellis That would be kind of interesting, actually. So they would then go. They got Dre, Greenlaw, and then they sign Caden Ellis. I don't know. I think they'll probably lean towards the draft when it comes to linebacker, just since they did sign in. Singleton's a free agent, so we'll see how that all works out. I think Singleton could be back too on the cheap. Kamara Ramsey, though, I do like Ramsey, and this is actually something that I could see them doing because once again, Brandon Jones, his contract, they could move on from that and save like a $9 million cash flow sort of thing, whatever it is at this moment. I'm learning now. I just learned this. I've been really doing some research. Actually, I've spent like 3 hours the other day just trying to research the cap alone. Cap means nothing. It's all cash flow. And I'm sitting here feeling like an idiot now. But yeah, it's all cash flow. Teams don't give a crap about the cap. I tried to rhyme that up. See what I did? But anyway, more so with that. But Kamari Ramsey, safety, I do like that here without Talanoa Funga. I think that's a great 1-2 punch in the back end. Because, oh, Mark, what a great photo to show, too. Oh, baby. Woo! Oh, man. Slot wide receiver that will dominate with. I will say this. Perfect scheme fit with Omar Cooper, with Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams. This is a pick that I totally could see being a Ram. Actually, if I had to bet money on it, like where a player would go, I think Cooper to the Rams makes so much sense, especially if he's available in the second round with their pick. I would be shocked if they passed up, unless they went wide receiver in the first round. Like if they went like Mekhi Lemon. Omar Cooper just seems like a Ram type of wide receiver in a McVay style offense on those crossers. He can make those typically. He's physical at the catch point. I love it. I really do. This is a fun pick. That is one of my favorite fits, actually, of this draft. You might say it's early. Whatever. But at the end of the day, if he's a stud, it doesn't matter. It's what it is. You know what I'm saying? We might say, oh, this is crazy. Why did you put Omar Cooper? What do you hate us? And then you go back. It's like if you would put Puka Nacua in the first round, people would have absolutely ripped you a new one. It's just, that's why you have to keep an open mind. I mean, it's fun to look at these. That's what I'm saying. Like, I love looking at different players because you don't know how it's going to shake up. We sit here and say, oh, well, we're going to go with consensus. That's how, you got to be unique. You got to be who you are and trust what you see. That's what it is. And you never know what's going to happen. You really don't. And that's why I would never call anybody's pick stupid. I mean, if you Patrick Mahomes and you draft a quarterback, okay, I might have to, may not use the stupid word, but yeah, I mean, that would be foolish in many ways. So there's always like the position and stuff like that and what their needs are. But generally speaking, this would be a need for them, is getting a wide receiver to pair along with Puka Nacua. And the wide receiver, Omar Cooper, is a fantastic football player. And even him over Denzel Boston, I don't, hey, it is what it is. At the end of the day, who knows what's going to happen? Because people always say, oh, you should have drafted Keelan Coleman earlier versus maybe a day 3 guy, and then you turn out the day 3 player plays better. So there's just so many things you can look at when it comes to that. TJ Parker here is the selection for the New England Patriots, getting some more talent here off the edge. Oh, hold on a second. Okay, oh yeah, I just want to make sure I got everything correct there with that. But with this one for the New England Patriots, they trade for A.J. Brown. I could see that, right? I mean, Mike Vrabel makes a lot of sense. Actually, that does make a lot of sense. And then you re-sign K'Lavon Chaisson off the edge and bring in TJ Parker to continue to bolster that edge talent, which is something they're going to have to do this offseason. So this makes a ton of sense. All the tools to be a star. The Big Dipper over in New England. Hey, they're good enough as is. We don't need to hype them up even more as a Jets fan of New England. So probably going to win another Super Bowl here. Chris Johnson. Oh, here we go again. Chris Johnson, corner. He's got getting away from the cop speed. He doesn't quite have that type of speed, but he's really good. And it's another player that I think his film is really fantastic. Is he at the Senior Bowl? That's a very good question. I got to double. I need to look at the Senior Bowl roster. We're getting really close to that portion too. But the Legion of Boom 2.0, you got Spoon, Love, Bryant, Emmanuel. Emmanuel. Nicky Manwari. And then you got ahead and added Chris Johnson here. But yeah, that would be a fun combination. So then you would have Johnson and Witherspoon on the outside, Nicky Manwari in the slot, Love and Bryant at the back end and safety room. That's a very, very talented secondary with that pass rush. Their defense is, I mean, it might win them the Super Bowl. That's how good their defense is. So just continue to add a strength to strength. You go ahead and re-sign Kenny K9 and you re-sign Boye. I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. Let's go on to the second round selections because, hey, he doesn't forget about you guys who don't have a first round pick, Akeem Mesidor. With great motor comes great power and responsibility, right? And be careful with Mesidor. He'll unlock something out there. It sounds like you know what it sounds like? One of those people, the bull people, you know what I'm saying? The flags, they hold out those like red capes or whatever. Not the Superman things, but you know what I'm saying? And then the bulls, boom, you know what I'm saying? Toro, those sort of things. And I almost said a lion tamer, but that's totally different. That's a chair, right? We're pulling Bobby Knight now. Anyway, great motor and great power. Mesidor is, I mean, every time I watch Mesidor, I'm like, yeah, he's 25 years old, but you know what? He's going to be really, he's so impactful off the edge. And the Colts do need another edge rusher. They did draft Tuimolau, JT Tuimolau in the second round. So maybe their hope is that he can step up for Kwity Paye and be more of a starter, but they could still use guys in there, you know what I mean? So it is what it is. And Ebicom and also Taquan Lewis, a free agent. It's like he's a free agent kind of every year, and they just typically re-sign him or something like that. So we'll see what happens. But the depth other than Leatu, they do need more edge talent. They need more passers on their defensive line in general. And they re-signed Daniel Jones, and they re-signed Braden Smith in this case scenario. On to the Falcons. I love this one. Tough addition to an already fierce secondary, and you re-sign Kyle Pitts. And they signed Wandale Robinson. I like that one. Yeah, he gives you some help there with some yak ability too, and the slot little shifty dynamicism to pair along with Drake London and Kyle Pitts. That's a really good one. That's a good little skill set there, right there for Medical Panics and Kevin Stefanski. Don't know why I'm going Southern out here. Well, it'll be South Georgia. The Peaches. Keith Abney's a great player, and I do like that one a ton. Hosea Trotter for the Green Bay Packers. Run stopping is in his blood. Hey, it is. It really is. You probably take a blood sample and like, wow, look at these blood specimens. It all has Reed's run stopping 99 on the scale. But they re-signed Sean Ryan and they signed Larry Ogunjobi to help out stop the run there, which makes sense. Jeremiah Trotter is going to help them out in that regard a lot too, especially with Quay Walker being a free agent. You put him in there with Cooper, and boom, yeah, that's not a bad 1-2 punch there at the linebacking room. And they also got what's his name, the linebacker from Missouri they drafted a couple of years back. Oh man, I'm blanking on his name right now. But anyway, it'll come to me here in a second. But Tyron Hopper, right? Tyron Hopper. He that dude's a blitzing machine, right? And you pair him up there with Jeremiah Trotter. Hey, I do think defensive tackle, but if you don't see a defensive tackle there, offensive line could be something like a future center too. Keep an eye on all those things for the Pack. And then on to the final pick here. We got Dylan Thieneman here for the Jags. As I said before, he's a Jags and Steeler fan, so he go gets himself Dylan Thieneman, a versatile piece for Campanelli's defense. That's if he's still the defensive coordinator. I know he's getting some interviews right now. Re-signed Devin Lloyd, critical. And re-signed Buster Brown. Critical, yeah. Montrevics had a fantastic season. Oh my gosh. Such an underrated player from Arkansas. And I'm glad that he has really taken that job. I'm telling you, he's such an underrated football player. And somebody like Mike Jackson, super underrated. I mean, I don't know if he had as good of a season as Mike did. Mike was fantastic this year, but Buster was really good too. And you add in Dylan Thieneman to that back end. Ransaw, I know they have Caleb Ransaw, but he could play a multitude of roles for them too. I think Thieneman just adds a beast to the back end, so I'm fine with that one. I really am. I think they could use it. In Eric Murray's contract, I'm not super worried about that, even though he is under contract. And Dewey's free agent, so there's a lot. I mean, Antonio Johnson's actually played pretty good. I will say that. But once again, he's a guy that they can utilize with Thieneman and they can work it out with Ransaw, have your little rotation, et cetera, et cetera. And Ransaw as a former corner, et cetera. So he can play even a little bit in the slot with Lewis. A lot of possibilities here, but that is it for Spaceghost mock draft. That was thrilling, adventurous, and had me all over the place. Had me up to the moon, right? And something that I always say, just when you do mock drafts, man, you just can't take them. You gotta have fun with it. People take it maybe still a little too seriously, and hey, everybody's different. So we gotta put it up there. You can agree or disagree, and you always have your opinions. It's important, but it is always fun to have an open mind and just kind of see what different players. Because at the end of the day, who's gonna be amazing? Who will be the Hall of Fame players? There's guys on day 3 that could come out and be way better than the day 1 guys. You really just have to go with your gut and believe in yourself. That's so important in life. You need to do that, right? I mean, that's a life lesson. So we'll ship this one off here. I hope you guys have a nice sailing day, and let me know what you think of this draft. And thanks, Space Ghost, always the man for doing these, and the graphics, the work you put into it. So it's not easy to do. I'll tell you that right now. So we'll guys keep it cooling. I'll see you real soon, and We got the Browns up next for a mock draft, and I've been really contemplating how I want to do with this, man. It's interesting. Let's put it that way. So they're kind of like the Jets right now. I don't know what to do. But yeah, I'll talk to you guys later here, and I'll see you back with the Browns soon.